Hello, my name is Roy Swift. I'm the Executive Director of Workcred, and I'm here today to talk about workforce credentials. Did you know that according to a recent study, there are more than 738,000 workforce credentials in the United States? It's no wonder that consumers are confused about what credentials to choose, what the different types of credentials are, and how they differ. Too often, the word credential is confused with the words certification and certificate. Unfortunately, all three terms are used interchangeably when they are actually quite different. So, what is a credential? A credential is an umbrella term that's meant to denote all types of credentials, such as a certification, a certificate, a license, and a degree. Today, we're going to talk about three of the most common types of credentials: a certificate, a certification, and a license. And we'll discuss how they're different. Let's start with certificate programs. There are many types of certificate programs out there. There's a certificate of participation, when you're given a certificate just because you sat in a room and you participated in the learning activity. There's a certificate of completion, which often has some type of requirement to earn the certificate. However, there is no judgment about passing or failing the learning activity or a measurement of how much you've actually learned. A certificate of completion signals that you have participated and completed the requirements, but there's no evaluation on the quality of the completed requirements. There are also certificates of apprenticeship. These certificates are awarded at the end of an apprenticeship program, and that includes on-the-job training and educational coursework. It indicates that the apprenticeship program was successfully completed, so that this type of certificate does have a judgment about quality. And then there's something called assessment-based certificates. Assessment-based certificates are a more formal type of certificate and are often most based on a job analysis or a curriculum development process to determine the content. But this particular type of certificate, they are also a formal assessment of learning. This assessment is often a criterion-referenced examination that determines pass-fail, or it may determine levels of learning such as novice, intermediate, or expert. A certificate is often a credential that has no expiration date. Not unlike a degree, once you get it, it's given for life. Although if one is accredited by the ANSI National Accreditation Board under the ASTM 2659 Standard Practice for Certificate Programs, the standard requires the agency that's awarding the certificate to put an expiration date on the certificate. The expiration date allows consumers to know when the knowledge and skills of that certificate has expired and a new certificate is needed. Next, we're going to talk about a certification. Although the words certificate and certification seem similar, a certification is quite different. It is not an education or training credential, but rather a third-party, independent judgment that competencies have been achieved. A certification is an assessment of competencies. It's based on a formal job analysis, sometimes called practice analysis, and designed to be representative of the population for which the certification is designed. The job analysis dictates the content of the certification examination, as well as the concentration and emphasis of the domains to be tested. This process determines the test blueprint and the test specifications to ensure validity and reliability. Because of this formal process, a certification is about creating a standardized exam that is legally defensible. The second component of a certification is the recertification or maintenance process. A certification is time limited, so you have to recertify or maintain it, or you'll lose your certification. A certification must be renewed either through professional continuing education, retaking an examination, or sometimes producing a product. Recertification or maintenance programs vary widely. Sometimes the certified person will have to document that they're currently working in the profession. Some certifications require criminal background checks to determine the individual has not committed any felonies. When health and safety are crucial to the certification, a physical health examination is required to demonstrate you can meet the demands of the competencies. Recertification or maintenance is a signal to consumers that individuals who hold the certification are still competent in the field. And third, unlike a certificate, certifications can be taken away either for unethical behavior or incompetence. Sometimes there is a code of conduct associated with a certification, but not all certifications have one. If there is a code of conduct, individuals sign a document that indicates they understand the code of conduct, and if they violate its terms, they can have their certification revoked. So a certification is about a standardized exam, a recertification or maintenance program to signal continued competence, and the ability to revoke it if there is a violation of the Code of Ethics or through due process procedures that's proven incompetence. The third credential I want to talk about is a license. A license is also a very different type of credential. It's awarded by a government agency and has legal ramifications associated with it. Practicing without a license can result in fines or jail time. There are two main types of licenses that are given to people. One is the state license associated with an occupation. The second is a federal license in such areas related to the Federal Aviation Agency or the Environmental Protection Agency. The scope of practice at the state level is determined by the state legislators with input from professional organizations and implemented by state licensure boards. This credential is also time limited. You must renew your license every so often according to the rules of the particular occupation that is given the license. A license can also be revoked due to a violation of a code of conduct or proven incompetence. A license is often associated with a certification. Sometimes a state license may be based on a national certification. So if you pass the national certification exam, then you can be licensed in a state. The state processes the administrative paperwork and the individual pays the licensing fees. There's often a background check required to obtain a license. So, three major types of credentials, all very different. A certificate is associated with education and training and learning. A certification is separate from education and training and is a third-party assessment of whether competencies have been achieved. And a license is awarded by a governmental agency and has legal ramifications. They are all different, and none are more important than the others. It depends on a particular situation and the needs of an individual as to which credential should be pursued. I hope I've given you some information today that will be valuable as you look at the more than 738,000 types of credentials that are out there, and that you will be able to understand the difference between certificate, certification, and license. If you need further information, please go to the Workcred website at www.workcred.org or email us at info@workcred.org.